Yo, what's up, everybody? It is Monday, May 19th, 7:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you're joining us, hopefully you're joining us, we can talk about not soda and the claim they've made. You know, some people are pretty upset. We are live.
You didn't.
Good morning.
Jeez.
Yeah, who do we got? We got Corey Connors coming in from Sustainable Packaging Podcast. We got Adam Peak, host of People Packaging Podcast, and you got me, Avelio Mats, host of Packaging Unboxed. And
lots of coffee. Let's go.
Freshly back from Italy.
I slept in the podcast studio. Avelio's here from Italy. Corey's been in Oregon.
Yeah, the Great Northwest.
That's right.
Corey, you need to carry the show. I'm sorry.
I'm in. Let's do this. I'm excited about it. This is a big topic for a lot of people. Infinitely recyclable.
That's right. So
sweet mother.
We're going to talk about this can. We're going to talk about some other things that are happening in truth and labeling. And hopefully we won't piss everybody off. But if we do, I'm sorry.
Avelio, I'm really excited. So that was how I got Fijian dust mites.
All right. So let's just jump right in. That's
a good story.
Yeah, it was a great story. You guys missed it.
I wish they would let them.
One of these times I'll connect the dots between microplastics and Fijian dust mites.
Right.
All right. So here's this thing. So I'm gonna stay out of it.
Oh,
Adam, Corey, what does this can say?
Not soda.
Corey, you start.
So this is a big claim to make by a brand to say that their packaging, because they didn't use a certain kind of packaging, and they have a system in place where they partner with another organization, will actually remove plastic bottles from the ocean. This is really a stretch, and I think very misleading, but I like the idea behind it. I like the companies like 4Ocean. There's lots of great people out there doing really good work in this space, but I think this is a risk, a marketing risk that maybe they're just using that to get attention.
Yeah. Like Gene says, a bunch of troublemakers.
Yeah. Corey, take a stance here. Do you love this or do you hate this? This is the internet. You have to have a hot take.
Yeah, I don't love it. I think I love what they're trying to do, but I think it's kind of misleading unless they have the actual numbers showing the data where they are actually doing this and it's effective. If that's the case, then maybe it's great.
Go ahead.
So he doesn't love it, but he does love it.
If that's true,
Corey's like always on both sides.
If it's true, I love it. If it's not true, I hate it more than anything because it's greenwashing. So if they're actually doing the work and if they're partnering with a great company that's actually pulling plastic bottles out of the ocean, like we talked about before the show starts, the show started today, most of the plastic that these companies are taking out of the ocean is fishing gear. And what was it? 40% of that is fishing nets, those totes that are on fishing vessels. It's what they could have said was this can remove plastic from the ocean, and that would be true.
The removal of, right? Because that's what they're doing. They're supporting. They're not this company is not actually doing the removal.
Right.
Okay, I'm gonna be totally honest with everybody. This is transparency time.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have a really hard time arguing the affirmative on this.
Right.
I'm just sitting here like thinking to myself like what is really great about this. And so they're not in glass. I think from a material perspective, I've seen a lot of content lately around like why glass is so great. And glass,
which it can be.
Yes,
in the right situation.
It can be a good. It's not a terrible material. But glass is pretty disruptive to the waterways, right? So I think that's good. Gosh, I just want to go to what I don't like because I really don't like a lot of things about this.
Right.
All right, let me cut you off for a second. So if you're watching this and you've got a brand, you're launching a product, or you're currently doing something like this, here's the issue. The issue isn't that they're supporting the removal of plastic from the ocean. It's
We love that.
really
That's
about the language that they're using.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem, right? I know I posted this. People are upset and they're like, how can you be crapping all over them? They're doing something, at least they're doing something good, blah, blah, blah. But if you read what they post on here, what they actually write on here, and Roger's right. It's like you got to watch out for the asterisks. But even beyond the asterisks, like what does it say, Adam? Like read the second paragraph.
The one that says we're not soda.
Yes.
We're not soda. Well, not soda like you know it. We're on a mission to free our oceans of plastic bottles and hydrate everyone with damn tasty drinks just like this one. You made the Southern Baptist say congratulations, Avelio.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. No, but it says that they're on a mission to free the oceans of plastic bottles. And there's a picture on the back of this thing with 2 plastic bottles being removed from the ocean. And it says down below, this can remove 2 plastic bottles from our oceans.
It does not
Equivalent
do that.
weight in plastic.
Yeah.
Right.
Look at the asterisk right by bottle there. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it says equivalent weight in plastic, but they're focused on the plastic bottle. On the front of the can, it says it removes 2 plastic bottles from our oceans. And what they're actually doing, right, is that they're paying a percentage of profits to a company called 7 Clean Seas, which 7 Clean Seas does an amazing job.
Right.
Yeah. They're pulling plastic out of, they're pulling what's called ocean-bound plastic. This is plastic that is within 3 miles of waterways. They're going into some like local waterways and pulling plastic out. Great stuff that they're doing. They're not necessarily going into the ocean to pull plastic out of the ocean. And that's what a lot of people picture when you say plastic bottles from the ocean, because that's what you're saying. So easy to picture that. And then
there's so many other ways they could have worded this to make it legitimate.
Well, okay. So from a marketing standpoint, right?
Yeah.
I think 2 things are able to be true. It's great marketing. Now, are they going to get in trouble for it? Maybe that's for the people to decide. But I can tell you this right now, like people are going to love this. They're going to love the like connection when they're looking at whatever their competitor is. And it's like, wow, if I buy this, I'm taking plastic out of the ocean. It's going to drive purchase decisions. From a marketing standpoint, if they're covered legally, it is in fact really good marketing. The problem is that people like us are like, this is dangerously misleading.
Yeah.
Because they're not saying what they're actually doing. And that to me is the issue. Like I do think that the marketing is gonna do what they want it to do, which is drive purchases.
100%. I like what Roger Wright says here. It's, this pack is going to fall foul of at least one of UK's greenwashing codes, omitting or hiding important information, because it's all about what you're communicating to the consumer. How are they making that purchasing decision based on what's written on there? And, like Gene says, is the most number of asterisks on a can.
Yeah.
Where did you see this, Avelio? Was it in Italy or was it online?
No, somebody posted this online. Somebody's doing a site where they're taking pictures of cans, kind of like what Fred does, except they're just copying
cans.
Yeah. And then Chris saying that their asterisks is interesting, but kind of going to Stephanie Burrow's comment. She thinks it's excellent, but how would we word this differently?
I think you could just add the equivalent of. This can removes the equivalent of 2 times plastic bottles from our oceans.
I don't like the word plastic. I don't like the word plastic bottles. because if you actually do a little bit of digging like Avelio did, you find out they're not actually removing any plastic bottles. And I
Mhm.
know why saying equivalent makes sense, but when you put the words plastic bottles on there, the reason they're doing that is they're trying to drive attention away from, look at our competitors in plastic bottles and they're putting
Yes.
them in the ocean and we are not. We're in aluminum
Correct.
cans. And so I get why they're saying it. It's just, I even think adding equivalent isn't
Yeah.
maybe the best.
No, I mean, what I would say, and Antoinette and Stephanie are both kind of asking the same question here. Like, what? All right, they've heard us talk enough. Like, what would we say? Like, I would say this can supports the removal of plastic from the ocean, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, something as simple as that. You don't have to. Obviously, you want to paint a picture, but the picture they're painting is false, and that's the challenge.
But here's what bothers me about it a little bit too, is that there's no mention of the 7 clean C's
No.
that's on the packaging. And I think you can say like a portion of
Right.
proceeds goes to 7 clean C's to remove.
And then people can look up that organization and support
Yeah,
that
and-
organization.
And
Yeah.
we support their work in, they don't have to have a whole long thing about it, but where did we go? There we are.
There we go.
But yeah, so you got to do a lot of digging to get to this data.
So here's what 7 Clean Seas does. So if you look at the plastic that they're removing from the ocean-bound plastic that they're removing.
So this is ocean bound. It's not ocean plastic.
So they're not even literally taking it out of the ocean. They're just
They're
stopping
pulling
it from going into the ocean. Yeah.
Correct. They're pulling it from rivers. They're pulling it from beaches. They're doing
Which is
beach
great.
cleanup, which is amazing, right? I mean, I'm sure there's stuff that's washing up on the beaches that they're pulling, which is excellent. But 30% of what they're pulling out is polyester textile, right?
Fishing net, right?
Fishing nets, tires, personal equipment, tarpaulin, and banners.
So wait, if we add up those, let's see, we got quick math. Apologies.
This should all add up to 100.
I'm saying the top two, right? So 45, 55, so 60, almost 70% is textiles, fishing lines, tires, personal equipment, and tarpaulin and banners.
Yep.
That's
And
a
then
lot.
down here, 1% is
Yep.
plastic bottles. So everything they're pulling out, barely
Does it say
anything.
how much they've taken out of the ocean or the ocean bound?
They do somewhere in there. I'd have to hunt it down, but if they're claiming,
No, everything helps, right? This is good, positive movement, but this is
and I agree with Gene. Right, giving free advertising to donate to 7 Clean Seas would have been
I think so too.
a great move.
Yeah. Just say, look, we partnered with this great company. They're doing good things for the planet.
Yeah. And Roger's saying, so they aren't pulling out any littered aluminum cans, they're just leaving those in the ocean.
This is actually one of my bigger problems with like the attack on plastics is like, well, what the reason why we don't see a lot of like metals and aluminums is because they go to the bottom of the ocean.
Right.
I mean, they're not floating around the top of, because they're not light, they're heavy. That's why the LCAs can be a little bit of a struggle fest. It's like they sink, and so they just like impact animals that we don't even know exist. They still have an impact though. Like
it's a lot less visible, right?
But so again, like you could reword that to say this brand supports the removal of plastic from our oceans. Perfect. We've partnered with this brand has partnered with 7 Clean Seas to remove plastic from our oceans.
Yeah.
Bam. Perfect. But if we kind of take the same thought, the line of thinking that they've done for their removes 2 plastic bottles, like we could also then, if Tetra Pak is 0.5% and plastic bottles are 1%, they could say, why didn't they say we remove 1 Tetra Pak from our ocean? Right. Sandals are 4%. They could have said we remove 4 flip-flops from the ocean for every can. Right. Like that's the same logic. right?
Yep.
We remove, 3 tires from our ocean. Like that sounds like, wow, that's
Well,
really big.
your math isn't mathing, but
But that's the same concept
yeah.
there. Like,
They
or
could have said,
I
like,
can't give you
we remove the
it's
equivalent of 1/8 of a sock from the ocean with
one t-shirt.
not even a t-shirt. It's because if you
a
think about
hoodie.
it, if 1% of it is plastic
Uh,
bottles, right? Then that means they're not actually because I mean, like a can of soda is not that expensive, right? The most they can donate has got to be what, 20 cents
if that.
per can, 10 cents per can, something like that, right?
Mhm.
Like it's not going to be a whole lot of money. And so if that's saying the reason why they could say 2 plastic bottles is because there's actually not a lot of plastic in plastic bottles. That's kind of part of the problem. Because if they said anything else,
Yeah.
if they said tires, it would be like wah wah.
Dude, they could take out 20 plastic bottle caps.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be
He said
interesting.
that.
The equivalent of, right?
Mhm.
Anyway.
Yeah. So that's the issue. And Roger is reminding us that aluminum cans have plastic as well.
Oh, don't tell the aluminum people that. They'll get very
They hate to hear that.
yeah, they're not a fan. It's just like, but the aluminum is so thin. It's like, or the plastic. It's like, well,
It's like barely there.
yeah, you still have your product interacting with plastic. So if you're worried about microplastics getting into your, into
Anywhere.
your drink, it's going to happen with aluminum. It's going to happen with plastic. It just won't happen with glass.
Yeah.
There's other problems.
And why is there plastic in aluminum cans?
I think I said one time that you can't have it just raw dog in the aluminum. Is what I think you said.
Yeah.
You gotta have that.
You need that barrier property.
You gotta have the condom that's in there to help protect.
Yeah.
Aluminum,
it doesn't really like liquid.
No.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
So
that's
you gotta protect it.
Yeah. So that's a big issue. I know a lot of people saw that post where I called it sustainable crap. But it was because of the language that they're using. Like that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
And language is important. It's so important in marketing and how you're communicating your brand and what people are doing to make a decision in terms of purchasing it.
Mhm.
Right. Like if you're going to purchase something because it says that it's doing something that you agree with, you're more likely to purchase it. Now, if you explain what you're actually doing, somebody might go, "Oh, well, I can just donate to so-and-so and I can do more."
Yeah. By the way, my initial thought whenever I see a brand that just leans so heavily into like donations and nonprofit altruism,
Mhm.
this is just how my brain's been trained, and maybe other people think this way, is I bet this product is not good. Because they need to do something else. And I know that very few people agree with me on this,
Mhm.
but like I've just been duped before where I'm like, oh, I'm doing something good. And it's like, yeah, the product doesn't work well or it kind of sucks. Speaking of products that don't work well, apparently, and microplastics. Tell us about our next story, Avelio.
All right, next story. Same thing.
Kind of.
There's a class action lawsuit against Ziploc because on the bags it says that it's safe for the freezer and safe for the microwave, and that there's no microplastics, no concern on what happens with these products.
Everything's
come to
fine.
find out.
Yeah.
And just kind of getting a couple comments in here. We got John Gregory. Not all aluminum cans utilize plastic inside the can. Many manufacturers have shifted to other coatings.
What are other coatings? I would love to hear what the other coatings are that are inside.
There's ceramic coatings that are being used.
Cans?
Yeah, it's really fascinating stuff.
That's crazy.
But the coating, so we're saying like there's no, like we can go back to what we talked about last week. Like, what's the definition of plastic, right? Like, we're just saying there's no fossil fuel based coatings on the inside, but there's still coatings on the inside of these cans.
We need to have somebody from the can industry on to set us straight.
Yeah,
let's do it.
All right.
Let's do it.
So sorry. Back to the.
Yeah. And Chris, Chris Olsen saying that copywriters deserve more respect.
Yeah.
They get plenty. I think they definitely do, but they should also be able to stand and be like, hey, I'm not really saying what you're doing.
Yeah.
So again, this thing, there's a lawsuit against them.
So this is a woman from California, Linda Cheslow,
Of course.
who
Gotta be
started
from
this.
California.
And she's. You think it's a class action suit, or it's her?
It says it's a class action lawsuit.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
people can jump on here if they like, and then they can collect $10 once this thing closes.
It does make me uncomfortable when people post things about how to cook things in plastic bags, and
Mhm.
it's unsafe. I think we've proven that through, I don't know, science.
Yeah. So the thing
Well,
is,
I went through, by the way, and this would require a much deeper dive.
Mhm.
But I'm trying to read peer-reviewed scientific articles on like, are microplastics bad? Not
Mhm.
like, do they exist? I think that's the science, is like, we know they exist and we can find traces of them. It's like, yes, okay. But is that bad? My initial reaction is probably, but I kind of want to I want to read, like, it'll be interesting to see what happens with this class action lawsuit as well, because I think that
This would be a big deal.
Ziploc is saying, no, they're fine. Like, of course, they're going to deny everything and say it's fine, and they're going to have deep pockets. But
like simply here, it says the products in question are made from polyethylene and polypropylene, which both have been medically and scientifically proven to have the potential to release microplastics
micro
when
PP.
subjected to extreme temperatures, microwaving, and freezing. And then, of course, the bags are marketed as microwave safe and freezer safe. So I don't know who microwaves food in a plastic bag anymore, but that's kind of the thing, right? It goes back. This goes back to language.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
But I feel like, though, I mean, again, this will have to be adjudicated in the courts, obviously, but a company like SC Johnson is going to be way more careful with their claims than Not Soda, right? Like, they have a team of lawyers, they have copywriters, they have all sorts of people. So if they're saying like these are microwavably safe, I'm not saying they're going to win. I'm just saying that was put on there intentionally and with some degree, a high degree of trust that they were not going to get sued. Of course, anyone can sue anybody for anything.
Well, it's like, it's like saying cigarettes are safe and then finding out that they're not.
Yeah. That's, again, I'm not saying
recommended for many years.
Yeah. I agree with what Chris just said.
Copywriters knew with the potential of what they were doing and how they were being pushed into a certain direction, but the marketing team was like,
but I can tell you though, having worked with a number of very, very large brands, legal and compliance always gets involved.
Mhm.
Right.
Always they're going to be involved in this. And so they had to sign off and say like, no, we're good with this. And it's not like the product needs to have microwave safe on there. People aren't buying these Ziploc bags because they're microwavably safe. They can say on there, they don't even have to put it on there. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see though. I'm not team one way or the other. I'm like curious.
Yeah. I mean, from your PP curious. From
curious about the PP. I just want to know about
the polypropylene. No, I think the thing with this product in particular is that the benefit is that you can throw it in the freezer, your product can freeze, and you can throw it in the microwave to defrost it, right? Like that's kind of the thinking here. And before all of this, microplastics conversations have been happening, and which are pretty recent. I'd say in the last 5-6 years, that's been a big topic. These have always been microwave freezer safe forever, right? So it may not be something that they've looked at and be like, hey, maybe we need to change it, because by changing it, you draw more attention to it.
Well, in fancy restaurants, they use this for cooking, right? It's called sous vide or something like that, like sous vide.
Yeah,
where they
don't use
boil
Yeah,
plastic
you don't
bags.
use Ziplocs.
But they
Well,
use plastic bags.
they use plastic bags.
Yeah.
Yes, but it's
You know,
but it's
really great,
low.
actually.
But it's a low heat. It's not a it's on a microwave and it's not boiling.
Avelia, you
Okay.
need to try this sometime. Saute your meat in a Ziploc bag,
Yeah.
and then instead of taking it out of the bag,
Put it in an aluminum can.
put it right on the grill with the plastic, and cook your meat. Grill the meat
Yeah.
in the like grill that microplastic right into the meat to
Mhm.
really like just savor the
It's gonna be
flavor of it.
delicious.
Yeah.
It's so good.
What is going on with this?
I don't know.
We're getting some weird stuff here.
Parlay. Sorry, it's not on my pirate ship.
Let's see. There we go. Yeah. Whoa. Hi guys.
Well,
Later.
we've been fired.
Yeah. All right. So if you guys have any questions on this, if you got any thoughts on the language of not soda, and again, people were so angry. They're like, we're not going to watch your show about this because you're just anti-sustainability. It's like, no, I'm 100% for what they're doing. I just think what they're saying is wrong. And it's not fair to the consumer because they're painting a picture that's not real.
And if you want to donate to our show, we're going to remove the equivalent of one plastic bottle for every $1,000 that you donate.
That's right.
Well, we could do something fun. Like we could totally go support organizations like this, and we would do it 100 times.
That'd be amazing.
Every time.
Yeah.
We would totally support any of these great organizations. It's awesome what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's just not great when people really, that's my biggest problem, honestly, with the can is like they're claiming that they're the ones doing it.
Right.
Yes.
And they're not drawing attention to the people who are actually doing it.
Or what they're actually removing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you guys want to sign up for a beach cleanup here in Arizona, let me know. We'll go down to the shore and we'll do this together.
Same in Utah. We've got a lot of
Coastlines.
We actually have beaches in Oregon, so we'll do it here.
Yeah. And not to make a joke out of this, but that's what we do. I think we're wrapping up. What do you got? What do you got left? What do you got coming, Adam? You going somewhere?
No, never. Not till September. September, I will be at Label Expo Europe in Barcelona. Is that how you say it?
Oh, really?
I grew up there.
Yes,
Okay.
it is. It is how you say that.
Thank you.
What about you, Corey? Where are you going? Where are you headed?
Got the Packaging Recycling Summit in Dallas, Texas, in next month, June 25th through 27th. Very excited for that.
In Dallas?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I'll be there. I'll be in Dallas at that time.
Oh, you will?
Yeah. I won't be at that show, but I'll be in Dallas. Maybe I'll swing by.
Let's connect. I'll be there for 3 days. Very, very excited about it. It's a big event. There's going to be some top speakers there, including our friend Ryan Smith from Recyclops and
Nice.
our buddy Jonathan Quinn.
Nice.
So
Nice. We'll have to check that out. And then just, I've got this thing from a company called Paco Roma, which says on here, this is, it's not plastic. It's made from natural ingredients. I think they've got calcium carbonate in here and a couple of other things. But we'll I'm digging into this and seeing what it's actually made out of. I've got some people take a look at it and we'll go check it out. Are we going to Fancy Food Show? Where's the Fancy Food Show, Gene?
Yeah, tell us, Gene.
But there's a bunch of stuff. I know there's like a snack show in Indianapolis that just happened this past week. Hopefully next year I get to go to some of these food shows and see.
Go to Indianapolis, drive out to Anderson, Indiana to visit the Uranus Fudge Factory. You'll love it.
Bam, we'll love it. All right, guys, leave comments. Do us a favor, check us out on YouTube and subscribe and all that good stuff. We'll see you tomorrow.